What's going on, my trainer club? Today we are going to check out the Master League in Pokemon Go. We're going to check out my team that I slay with. So welcome to the trainer club. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Let me know in the comments below, how are you doing on your shiny hunts for the Spring into Spring event, and how are you doing in the Master League, because it is new, it's ready to go. Are you guys succeeding? Did you guys get the shiny Marill? Let me know in the comments below. Can't wait to see how you guys are doing. Before I get into the video, which we're going to go over my Master League team, I just wanted to remind you guys, all the way until tomorrow, you're going to be able to get one of my hoodies. You can use code Easter in my shop at thetrainerclub.com. We have the black camo, the forest camo, the snow camo, the mint green, and we have the lavender. So if you guys do want it, thetrainerclub.com, no www, and use code Easter for $5 off each hoodie and any of my other gear. So now we're gonna get into the Master League. We're gonna make sure to slay as much as possible. My team is gonna be the Giratina Origin Form, the Melmetal, and the Dialga. It's definitely a very meta team, but it does a lot of work, and it's really helped me out to succeed in the league. So let's get into it right now. And now we're getting into the Master League. Honestly, I really enjoy the Master League. I know it's pretty challenging for a lot of people because it's dominated by legendary. So number one, it's going to be very expensive to get your guys in the correct mannerisms, especially if you're using, like I said, legendaries for like 100,000 second charge move, but it's an absolute must. I have an absolute blast with it, and I hope you guys got shiny Marills. Let me know in the comments below, did you guys get shiny Marill yesterday? My favorite team that I rock is going to be Giratina Origin Form, and then it's going to be Melmetal and Dialga. So obviously I do have weaknesses. Fortunately, a lot of these guys are pretty beastly, and I know everybody's probably like, man, that is a super meta team, but in reality, it's really proven really well for me, especially when you start to learn how to master these Pokemon. So as far as the weaknesses go, we have the Giratina Origin Form that's going to be weak to the Ice, Ghost, Fairy, Dragon, and Dark. So we definitely have to look out for all of those. The fortunate thing is that it's not double weak to anything. It's going to be double resistance to fighting and normal, which is super positive for us, especially when the Snorlax comes out. Even though Snorlax does get licked, the body slams are not going to do too much, which we definitely will check out in a battle. And the moveset I run on my Giratina is going to be Shadow Claw. I use Ominous Wind, and then I also use the Shadow Ball combination. I know that you can use Dragon Pulse on it. However, I haven't seen a scenario where I'm like really itching to use that because I have the Dialga as well. So Dialga and then Melmetal with the Rock Slide can cover a lot of the dragons, because dragons are usually dragon and flying is weak to the rock. Next, I'm going to have the Melmetal. It's going to be weak to ground, fire, and fighting. It's going to double resist poison, which is probably why we don't see a lot of poison type Pokemon. It's going to have a ton of other resistances, which is super good. And then finally, I am going to have Dialga. The reason why I use Dialga, number one, is because Dragon Breath on this thing is like lethal. It's so hard to deal with. It's only going to be weak to two things, which is going to be ground and fighting. So that's another reason why I do run the Melmetal. My Melmetal's movesets are going to be Thunder Shock. I'm going to run Rock Slide and Super Power because people do run Snorlaxes. You can, I don't know, I wouldn't run any type of electric charge moves on that guy. I just find it way more effective. I don't really find a place, maybe Kyogre, but there's definitely times where my Melmetal will handle a Kyogre, which we'll check out as well. And this particular Pokemon, Dialga, is going to be double resistant to grass, which is probably why there's not a lot of grass Pokemon out there, and then poison double resistant as well. And then my moveset on my Dialga, pretty straightforward: Dragon Breath, Iron Head, and then we have the Draco Meteor, which is only used in select KO situations because it does make it weaker. So let's check out my battles starting right now. I hope you guys are ready for this. I'm gonna show how we win quite frequently against a bunch of different teams and which Pokemon I use, because I think the biggest key that a lot of us don't really realize is that although a certain Pokemon may be good against your team, if you know which Pokemon to try to strategically play into that, that's really going to help you guys succeed the most. So let's get into it right now. Starting off, we have one of the most common things that I see all the time is going to be Togekiss. The one thing I'm going to recommend in the Master League is when you do have a Pokemon that you're going to be weak to, especially something like a Togekiss that's going to eat my Giratina, you switch as soon as possible unless you want to try to handle this. So this scenario right here is not pretty for me. I went from a Togekiss straight into a Garchomp, And Garchomp is going to get Sand Tomb, which is going to be a ground move. However, the positive to it is going to be that it's not super effective, but it does lower my defense, so it can chew up quite frequently. So my goal here is basically to get off as many specials as I possibly can. And fortunately, since I switched very early on, it did give me a couple seconds lead on this, so I'm letting this thing attack, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw a Rock Slide here. You guys did see that I could have waited right there. However, I need to switch out of this Pokemon as soon as possible, and I'm gonna throw in my Dialga. Dialga is going to eat this Garchomp to pieces. I'm gonna let this Sand Tomb come in because I doubt it's gonna be an Outrage. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and chew it down. Look at this real fast. Dialga, I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here, is the #1 key when I'm gonna go against a Garchomp. Garchomp and Snorlax is a very common team that I see, and if I don't switch properly, I will get absolutely wrecked by that 2-team combination. But if I do switch properly, it's going to give me a humongous leg up. And in this scenario, since I was able to have the Garchomp locked in switch, and then I could bring in my Dialga, and I saw that the Garchomp has Sand Tomb, and I'm assuming that, let's go ahead and play this, is gonna be an Outrage right here, which I'm going to shield. Earthquake, look at that. So he has double ground moves on that thing, which is really surprising. So that would have KO'd out my Dialga for sure, but I want Dialga in here, #1, because they don't have any shields. And Togekiss is not gonna be super effective with its Fairy against Dialga, and my Iron Head is gonna be super effective against this Togekiss. So now I can basically just like almost take out 2 Pokemon with that Dialga right there. And I'm assuming that this is going to have a charge move. It's gonna come in with an Ancient Power like it did there. And then we go ahead and basically get it all the way down. And then here comes in the big boy. He is tanky, not fun for me to fight against. The positive here is that I am double resistant. The negative here is that he could have Outrage. Can get Earthquake, lethal. Usually people run Body Slam, they can run Superpower, but look at how like minimal amount of damage I was able to take from that. So my goal here is basically just to go ahead and hit it with Shadow Balls as many times as possible. I know it's not gonna be super effective, it's not gonna be effective at all, it's gonna be the reverse. However, with them throwing Body Slams, I'm assuming that the other move they have is Superpower, or else they would have thrown an Outrage and KO'd me. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try to get a boost off of this, just to see if I can take it out a little bit better. So this scenario, normally very difficult for this team to handle, but based on the switching scenarios, and we will show a example where I get absolutely wrecked by this team, came out really well. Like look how much damage it's doing. It's doing virtually no damage, and then I'm able to get up and charge up on that Shadow Ball. The good thing about Giratina is, man oh man, is it one powerful Pokemon. I absolutely love playing with Giratina, and just by a sliver hair, we were able to go ahead and get that. So fortunately yesterday I did hit 200 wins and my Master League medal. And so now we have T-Tar. T-Tar's another Pokemon. It's gonna be dark, weak for Giratina. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a couple moves in there, charge it up a little bit, and then I'm going straight into my Melmetal. And since this is going to be a double weak to Superpower, and the crunch is pretty effective, I'm assuming that they have other Pokemon that are really weak to my other Pokemon as well, because if it was me, I would definitely switch out of my T-Tar like extra ASAP, because one Superpower is gonna KO this Pokemon, and I'm just gonna throw Rock Slides just to get it ready to like basically blow shields, because I'm assuming they're gonna like that, double shield up, and I don't wanna be weak to any of their moves. And then obviously I'm gonna throw a shield, I'm gonna charge up, but I'm gonna be very weary that they're gonna try to last minute switch on me. But they didn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a Superpower, charged up. Melmetal still got health, they got no shields, and then I'm gonna be able to take this puppy down. And actually, the crazy thing is they blow their energy into this Pokemon, which is smart because I would have died. But now I can come through with either of my Pokemon. I'm gonna go ahead and choose, what would you guys choose? The Dialga, because the Dragon Breath is super good, and I am in favor of my switch advantage. I didn't want to take advantage of that. So now they have this Groudon, and I know you guys are like, man, you're crazy staying with Dialga because that's one of its 2 weaknesses, but it takes so long for this to charge up. I'm gonna go ahead and charge this, and then I'm gonna basically use my one-hit KO'er, knowing that I do have my switch available and they're only gonna have one Pokemon to be able to take that out. Didn't want to throw Steel in there. And now we have the Kyogre. The good thing about the Kyogre is it's really gonna try. Oh man, it's crazy. Like this Pokemon just wrecks. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to take this all the way down. So we have Dialga. I think they're trying to charge up for a Blizzard right there. we'll see right here, or they're just trying to overcharge so that they can take this Pokemon out, have another special coming in, but Giratina's already charged up and Shadow Claw is super powerful, so that's going to be good games on that. That's how we handle the ground weakness when we do have ground. So now we have another matchup. As soon as I see Dialga lead, I'm transferring. Usually I do throw in my Melmetal whenever I see Dialga. On occasion, I don't. And in this scenario, I did not, but more recently I have been, because I really need, and when I see stuff like this, I need that Dialga to go after Garchomp. That is basically the only thing in my party that will take down a Garchomp, and I need to have that. But the benefit of going after Dialga versus Dialga is there's only one move that can KO me from the start, and that's going to be Draco Meteor. And if I switch virtually right off the start, I know how many moves they're in with their Dialga, so I know when they're about to throw their special, what special is going to come based on how close I am. Like if I'm one hit away from Draco Meteor, there's a good chance that they have Draco Meteor. However, like we're going to see here, I was a good 3 to 4 attacks away from the Draco Meteor, so I knew it was going to be Iron Head, so I didn't have to blow a shield on that particular one. And then they're going to go ahead and switch in here, and I could have definitely thrown the Iron Head, but I just went ahead and went with Draco Meteor just to see what would happen. I knew that they were probably going to shield that up anyway. So now here comes the Melmetal. This was actually played in my favor, because now my Melmetal is going to go up the Togekiss, and Togekiss is weak to the Rock Slide. And it's also going to be weak to electric because it's flying. Fairy doesn't resist electric, so I'm sitting pretty good. I'm not going to take any attacks. Flamethrower is a common move that goes on here, and my goal right now is basically going to go ahead and try to get as much stored energy without letting it go with another attack. So I'm assuming they're not going to shield here, because that'd be crazy. And now we have the Garchomp, good old Garchomp. So this is going to be one where I do not come out on top. So this match literally changed my perspective of how I use my team, because they had the Garchomp sitting in the back. So they're running double dragons, which is pretty effective since, you know, a lot of people do run Dialgas. And so Charm, Dragon, and they get ground moves on the Garchomp. So I was really like set on that Dialga versus Dialga. I felt pretty good about it. But if I would have used my Melmetal, and even if they would have brought their Garchomp into my Melmetal, would have been totally fine, because then I could have, like I did in the other match, pull in my Dialga when it's switch locked and just Dragon Breath at least half of its health down. So you guys have to start realizing when you do get locked in these scenarios, I definitely could have won this match. You guys are gonna see here what a Rock Slide actually does to a Garchomp. Yeah, it's kind of like a little tickle under the arm, and that's gonna do it for me. One thing I always do try to do, even though I'm gonna die, I wanna go ahead and throw this superpower just to see how much damage I can do to the Garchomp with superpower, which isn't that bad, right? Like, it's not amazing, but it's definitely way better than the Rock Slide. So every single time I get the chance, I try to learn as much as possible, and that was a great learning scenario for me. And now we're going on to our next match. We have a very random matchup here. We have a Gyarados, which is good. It does have Dragon Breath, so I'm gonna go ahead and charge up, switch out. I definitely could have switched out a little bit sooner and not went ahead and took in all that damage, but I went ahead and chose to do it, and then I thought that it was gonna potentially have Outrage, so I shielded up on that guy. Now we have Lucario coming in. The thing about Lucario, man, is that it hits pretty hard. Like, it's definitely a glassy Pokemon, but its attack is up there. If it's running Power Up Punch or Aura Sphere, it's gonna hit pretty hard. So this is a big threat, especially for a powerful Pokemon like Dialga. You see this Pokemon, and it is definitely charged up right now. This matchup is very interesting because I have two scenarios. I think it's gonna throw a Shadow Ball because it saw my Giratina, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the Melmetal to go ahead and soak up this Shadow Ball, which I did assume properly, so I didn't have to use a shield there because I wanted to save the shield. However, here's the situation. I thought that it was gonna have Power Up Punch, but it had Aura Sphere, and it's completely one-hit KO'd my Melmetal. So now the goal here, they have two Pokemon remaining, one shield. I have one shield, and this is not looking good for me right here. So I'm going in here. There goes the shield. I went ahead and used the Ominous Wind to bait out that shield because they probably thought I was gonna throw something to try to keep their Gyarados alive. Fortunately, was able to one-hit basically KO that Gyarados with the Shadow Ball, and here comes a Mamoswine, which is going to be very powerful because Ice is one of the Giratina's weaknesses, and it has Avalanche, so I obviously have one shield left, fortunately, and so I have a Shadow Ball, and this is crazy. I cannot believe that I pulled this off right here. This is one of the major reasons why I use the Giratina Origin form. Look at this. Going down with a weakness, and it's still able to pull that off. So even though Mamoswine is super effective against my Giratina, it did not take it out. So now we have another matchup. I see this quite common, people leading with Machamps. So I'm gonna go ahead and I stay in this one all the time. I mean, fighting's not gonna do damage. Rock Slide is definitely gonna be a little bit more effective. And you saw that. We didn't see the switch happen, but it happened. And so I'm thinking like, should I go in with another Pokemon? And I'm like, no. I know that I can handle Giratina Origin Form against a Rhyperior because the Ghost, it's not gonna be resistant to Ghost. And then boom, I get the boost on this guy. That's one of the reasons why I use Ominous Wind. However, I am definitely consider putting some Dragon Pulse on this guy just to have another type of diverse ability. And now I'm just basically trying to keep this thing alive because with a boost, a Giratina Origin Form is an absolute monster, and they actually went ahead and quit out. And then here we go, Shiny Marill, one of my 3 Shiny Marills that I was able to get. So wanted to put that in there for a little bit of shake up for you guys to give us a little break before we get back into studying some more of the Master League with this team. So here we go, back into another matchup. This one is very, very common for me to see, and I do not switch here. I know that the Shadow Claw does damage, people know that, and then boom, we have this here, and now I have learned I do not bring my Dialga out in this situation. So what I want to do is bait out their shields. They're going to use Iron Head because that was way too fast to use Draco Meteor. Doesn't do like any damage to the Melmetal. You saw that right there, which is really powerful, especially when it takes so long to charge that up. And now I know that they have to shield because if I hit them with a superpower, this Pokemon is pretty much dead. So I went ahead and baited with a Rock Slide, got a shield, and now I'm okay to either go either direction, whatever they're going to do. They chose not to shield, and now I'm sitting really pretty right here. And I have the option to use a shield now because I kind of want to keep this Pokemon alive because I don't know if they have a Snorlax, and I really am like super hard set on keeping a superpower just in case of Snorlax. And then we have the Rock Slide coming in. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that. The reason why I did the Rock Slide there was basically just to conserve that Pokemon so that it didn't die out and that couldn't chunk me down from the Dragon Breath. And then I'm going straight into Giratina. Giratina Dragon with the ghost moves. Obviously it does a ton of damage to this Kyogre. The only thing I have to be wary of is going to be one thing. Do you guys know it? Blizzard. Surf doesn't do very much damage, and they're gonna go ahead and switch. They just used their last shield, and now I have a Shadow Ball to come into another Giratina Origin Form, which is gonna be super effective, and I'm okay if this thing dies out because I have Dialga and I have Melmetal. Melmetal, not the best matchup for the Kyogre, but it's going to work out in our favor. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that. So we're gonna pull in this Dialga to chunk this thing down. Now we have the switch ready. We can go ahead and switch anytime we want, or we can just go ahead and chunk this thing down. The only thing that I'm very cautious about is that they're gonna overcharge on a Pokemon, and then they're gonna be able to go ahead and use a special on the other one. So I'm pretty sitting good right here. You saw the Surf doesn't do like any damage to this Dialga either, which is really beneficial. And then boom, we got that. I could even switch into my Melmetal that already has a charged up move, but I didn't need to do that right there. But that is a scenario that if they were to pull a Pokemon, that's why I kept that Melmetal alive and switched out of that. And the final matchup that I wanted to cover is going to be Giratina against Mewtwo. So this, in my opinion, was going to be a landslide. However, the Psy Strike on the Mewtwo is dominant, and it is not going to be resisted from this Giratina. So it does do a lot of damage, so I choose to shield there. However, my Shadow Claw is making up for the damage right there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw an Ominous Wind. I'm going to conserve some energy because it's going to be super effective against it. And my number one goal here is to keep my Giratina alive, and then also not blow all my shields. So you guys did see that right there. I'm trying to overcharge on some energy. I'm only gonna throw an Ominous Wind right here, and then boom, we're gonna hit it, and they're gonna shield again because they want this Giratina dead. I think it's gonna be a threat to their team. So my goal, like I said, keep it alive, but in that scenario, I'm willing to let it go ahead and blow energy, and I bring in the Dialga because Dragon Breath is so powerful that I'm able to take it out and not risk, like if I brought in the Melmetal, the Thunder Shock wouldn't have been able to take that out. I would have had to take a move. And here comes their Giratina, and I am basically just gonna charge this. Shadow Ball will do a decent amount of energy, but I did have one shield, and so now I'm able to go ahead and hold this, almost take it out with just one Dialga without them getting a special off, and I'm pretty confident that Shadow Ball's coming. Boom, there's the Shadow Ball right there. You always have to be cautious of that. It does do a good chunk. It's not resisted from that. And then we have the Dragonite coming in, so they're going to charge up and try to get either Draco Meteor or Outrage, because that's not going to take me out. And then we have the one-hit KO Draco Meteor coming in just as we do it right there, and we get the other win. So this is the team that I'm rocking right now, guys. If you guys do want to use it, you're definitely going to have to learn how to play with it. I'm going to start trying out my Giratina with the Dragon Pulse. The one thing about the Dragon Pulse is that I really like the fast charging Ominous Wind to be able to bait shields with, so that I can conserve energy to use the Shadow Ball. So if I see like a lot of Snorlaxes and I keep getting stuck with the Giratina, I'm definitely going to switch to the Dragon Pulse and see how that does against the Snorlax. And we're going to explore a little bit more with this team later in the week, and then we'll probably start going up. I'm about to be ranked 9. I think probably after today I'll be ranked 9, and I could try to get to rank 10, and I think I could get there, but I would also like to try out some other Pokemon. So we're going to start going after a bunch of different Pokemon, trying our best to show you guys some good matchups and seeing how a bunch of different teams do, because not only is this game that I play about me, but it's also about helping you guys learn, and you guys obviously know that. So I want to take a moment and thank all you guys for being here, all my likers, commenters, subscribers, Patreon members, everybody who takes their support, subscription, participation in any facet to the next level. I super appreciate all you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this team. I'm going to see you guys out on the next video. Peace! I just want to take a moment and sincerely thank all of my Patreon members, everybody that has taken their subscription to the next level and chosen to support me on this platform. I greatly appreciate you guys. As a growing channel and really trying to grow and improve as much as I possibly can, I really appreciate the extra support. You guys mean the absolute world to me. I cannot wait to connect with you soon, and I appreciate you guys all for being a part of the Trainer Club. I will see you guys out on the next video.